Cindy Vallone. Welcome to Food Experience Unplugged.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
We are excited to have you as an essential oil guru, if you will.
That works.
This podcast is available on multiple platforms, including YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and others. Please be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to be informed as new episodes become available. If you enjoyed today's episode or any of our episodes, please rate and review the podcast on your favorite platform. As always, check out our website at foodexperienceunplugged.com for some resources as you begin your health journey. Wonderful. We have not talked about essential oils a lot on the podcast, so this is good, a refreshing infusion, if you will, of discussion about the oils. Now, to get started, will you take a moment to introduce yourself and tell us what brought you to this point in your life and career? Why essential oils? Why did you go in that direction career-wise?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am born and raised in Southern California, now raising my own family here. We have two teenage boys, and about 6 years ago, I was introduced to essential oils from a friend who knew that I suffered from chronic headache and migraines. And she said to me, "Have you ever tried essential oils?" And I said to her very quickly, "Well, sure, like avocado oil and olive oil." And she started laughing, and then I started laughing, but I had no idea what we were laughing about. And so I sort of had to say, "What are you talking about?" And she then proceeded to share with me some of the stuff that I'm going to share here today. But I don't know what the deal was, if I was living under a rock or what, but I had never heard of essential oils 6 years ago. Fast forward to today, and I really am an essential oils wellness advocate and educator, and love really helping to empower people about the choices they have for natural health. So that's kind of where I got. So the story 6 years ago is she gave me some peppermint essential oils for my headache, and she said, "Yeah, just swipe it right on the temple area." I was super skeptical. I probably rolled my eyes at her, and I took the sample more for her than for me because I just wanted to be a good friend, right? We've all been there. And so, because I suffered from chronic headache and had tension, a couple days later, I felt some pain coming on, and I remembered to use that little oil, and I put some on, and it helped a little bit. But again, I was incredibly skeptical and just figured it was placebo effect. Well, a couple more headaches down the line, a couple more times of trying it, I thought there's something to this. And little by little, my family and I started to explore essential oils for other things that popped up in our family, whether it was ear pain or digestive discomfort or sleep issues, stress, those kinds of things. And here I am now with an international team of wellness advocates. So it kind of entered into my life unexpectedly and wonderfully at the same time.
Fantastic. And just kind of word of mouth, literally, as a friend introduced you to the products.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. Now, kind of, I guess, backing up a little bit, will you tell us a little bit about what exactly are essential oils and why are they so vital, I guess, to
Yeah,
health and wellness?
absolutely. So same thing. If there's people listening who were like me 6 years ago and didn't have a clue what an essential oil was, the easiest explanation is that they come from nature. They come from plants and seeds and barks and trees and roots and grasses. They come from nature and they protect that, let's say, plant. Okay. And so when we distill them, we use a cold pressed or steam distillation method, and then we're able to bottle them for the benefits of us and to our benefit. And that that will help us, whether it's physically, emotionally, or mentally, with our specific health and wellness goals. And there are 3 ways to use them. If you want me to jump into that now, I can, or say a little bit.
Absolutely.
Okay. So there are 3 ways to use essential oils. And when I talk about essential oils, I'm really talking about a high quality essential oils. My family and I choose the doTERRA brand. And so when you're using essential oils, you can use them topically, putting them where it hurts. So remember when I first started, it was on my temples. You can use them for like neck and shoulder discomfort. A lot of us hold stress and tension there. Or maybe you have a sore knee, or you have kids who have growing pains. So using it topically, or even rubbing a little bit on your stomach for digestive issues. So that's topical use. Then there's aromatic use. That's just a fancy way of saying smell them. You can smell them using a diffuser, which is a machine. I have one behind me. I always have one going throughout the house, but you just add a little bit of water and a few drops of essential oil, and you're going to get the benefit by smelling it. You can smell it straight from the bottle. You can use diffuser jewelry, earrings or necklaces or bracelets. I'll put a little essential oil on my palms, rub my palms together and deeply inhale. And then I even scrunch a little bit on my hair, and then my hair acts as a diffuser. So lots of tips to be able to do that. And then the third way, again, as long as it is a very high quality essential oil, you can use internally. And basically what that means is that you can put a couple drops in your water throughout the day. Lemon is very refreshing, a perfect example of that. You can put a couple drops under your tongue. You can use them in cooking. And in a veggie cap, that would be the fourth way, is in a veggie cap, you pour some oils into an empty veggie cap, stands for vegetable, which is an empty capsule that kind of pulls apart. You pour the oils in and then you swallow it down like a pill, because not all essential oils taste really good. They're all really good for you, but some of them are maybe a little spicy or just don't taste so great.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah, so those are the three ways that you can use a high quality essential oil.
Okay. Now you mentioned a high quality oil. So what are some things to consider when you're trying to select an essential oil?
So that's a great question. And I think it's really important as consumers that we understand that not all essential oils are created equal. And I work with a lot of practitioners, whether it's nurses or chiropractors or acupuncturists or physical therapists, and they will tell you that they truly think it's criminal in nature. Let me step back a second. So here's where I'm going. Because essential oils are not regulated by the FDA, anybody can put the word pure on a bottle, on a sticker, and sell it. That doesn't mean it's pure. And so the essential oil industry is really riddled with adulteration, which means that there are chemicals and synthetics and fillers in essential oils. So you have to be really careful. You have to do your due diligence. As consumers, I feel like a lot of companies try to pull the wool over our eyes, whether that's the cosmetics industry or the cleaner industry, right? We have to be really careful. We have to educate ourselves. So a few things to look out for. You want to find out what the sourcing practices are. Where do they source? How do they bottle? Are they used in research universities? What are their purity and potency standards? What are their testing regimens? So that's a lot. That's a lot of information to have to sift through. And again, that was the reason that my family and I chose doTERRA, because they're incredibly transparent about all of that too.
Okay. Now, is it just a question of just kind of Googling and doing a lot of research in terms of trying to address those sourcing and, just other areas of consideration?
Yeah, there's a lot. Well, not every essential oil company wants to be transparent, because they don't necessarily want the consumer to find out what, is in the bottle. So I do. I think you need to be well educated. I think you need to be well educated for sure. So
Okay.
sourcing practices is really, really important. Who they're partnering with in terms of the farmers and the growers, and the distillation practices and the testing practices. So what tests does every single batch go through? That's really important, both in-house and third party. The purity is really, really important.
Okay. Okay. Now tell us a little bit more, since your early days with your migraine and you were gravitated toward the essential oils. What has been your experiences since then in terms of your personal use?
So peppermint really is a phenomenal oil, and you can Google peppermint and you can see lots of research and studies on peppermint and head tension and headaches and migraines and that kind of thing. So yes, it really, really helps. Peppermint also helps with digestive issues. It helps as a energy and focus oil, because it helps open up the airways. It also helps bring a fever down naturally, or helps with hot flashes. That's kind of the stage of life that I'm in. And it's very helpful to bring your body temperature down naturally. So for me with headaches, what's really important is that this neck and shoulder area stay loose. And so we do have oils for that as well. We have a fantastic blend called Deep Blue, but marjoram and lemongrass work really well for that area too. And the peppermint and keep the peppermint on the head, keeping this area really loose, as well as making sure that I get enough sleep and I'm hydrated. It's kind of all of those things that are really important. And so essential oils help me with that too. I use essential oils in the diffuser to help promote really restful sleep. And then I use essential oils in my water to help me stay hydrated throughout the day. So yeah, it is on a full scale.
Sure. Now, you had mentioned with other things, so it's not just the use of essential oils in and of themselves, it's in concert with other wellness practices?
Yeah, so a lot of people who suffer from migraines need to understand what their triggers are, and that can be different for each person. But
Mm,
the majority will tell you that when something is a little bit off, we tend to be more sensitive to sort of everything. So yeah, it is really about a wellness practice and a wellness lifestyle. Specifically, there could be certain foods that create triggers. So knowing all of that in conjunction for sure is important.
mm. Okay. Now, you had mentioned a couple of things with sleep and stress in particular. How do essential oils really address those particular needs?
Oh, this is a fantastic question. So let's go back a couple of years, right? Before the pandemic. We all felt like we were handling stress and sleep pretty darn well. And now enter, March 2020, and our lives have been turned upside down. And our stress and anxiety levels really have skyrocketed because let's be real, we have never lived through a pandemic before, right? We have never experienced this before, and we are all doing the very best we can. And some of us are just making it up day by day, right? So, so stress and sleep are really important for keeping inflammation markers down, which is incredibly important for staying healthy today, now more than ever. And so essential oils can absolutely help with that. Lavender is one of the most well known essential oils to help with restful sleep. It's very calming, it's very soothing. What a lot of people don't realize is that it's also a natural antihistamine. So if you have any allergens, it's actually going to help with that too. So that can help settle you down easier for sleep. It's very calming, very soothing. I love it in the diffuser. There's times when maybe I need a little extra boost of it in a veggie cap. Lavender actually doesn't taste that great to me, so I'll use it in a veggie cap to really help settle my system down. And you can put some on the bottoms of the feet. That's a great place to put essential oils. If you don't love the smell of something, but you want the added benefit, you can put it on the bottoms of the feet. So let's say maybe you have a partner who doesn't love lavender, but you want the benefit, you put it on the bottoms of your feet. They won't be disturbed, kind of a thing. But
Mm.
hopefully everybody will benefit from the lavender. We have some beautiful blends, adaptive and balance are really well known. And any essential oil that is very calming and soothing, even wild orange, which is a citrus, which is very uplifting, is also very calming and grounding. Bergamot is a fantastic oil to get you out of fight or flight and put you into rest and relaxation. So again, when you diffuse an oil, it hits the olfactory bulb and hits the limbic system in the brain. And it literally changes that messaging faster than I can snap my fingers. So you
Mm.
can go from anxious and overwhelmed to feeling calmer um, very quickly. It's a very powerful tool without
Oh,
any negative side effects, right?
sure, that's fantastic. And you mentioned like specifically diffusing. So if you use a diffuser versus if you put it on directly versus some other way, do they have different effects or levels of effectiveness?
So we recommend that you use essential oils all the ways that you're comfortable. That's really what it comes down to. So if you're experiencing overwhelm and anxious feelings, and you want to get that calm down sense ASAP, then I do recommend putting some on your skin, maybe with a roller ball. You can put some on your wrist, your pulse points behind the ears, and also diffusing in your environment is really important. And then you can also certain oils you can take internally. So all the ways, or whatever ways are comfortable for you. When you put it on your skin, it's going to get absorbed into every cell in your body within 20 minutes. And remember, with aromatic use, really, hits you very quickly. Think about aromatic use with anesthesia, right? It's
Mhm.
no surprise to us who know about the olfactory and limbic system connection that they're having you breathe that in, right? That's
Mhm.
the reason that's happening that way. So it happens very, very quickly.
Okay, fantastic. That's good. And that is if you feel anxious or these different issues early on, and then you'll over the course of time, you're able to kind of alleviate those things. Do essential oils kind of give you, I guess, time to figure out the root cause of your ailments per se?
Yeah, I like how you stated that. I think with essential oils, if you think about them as another tool in your wellness toolbox,
Mm,
you're going to feel empowered. And that's what really natural health is all about, right? Being able to
so,
feel empowered to make positive changes and positive choices. And so
mm,
that's how
love
we
that.
use them in our family as another tool in our toolbox to be proactive, to be preventive. We can use them acutely as well, but how nice to be able to, have an essential oil like lavender, let's say, in your purse, and you're out and about, and maybe you start to feel that sense of overwhelm for whatever reason, and you can roll some essential oils on, take a few deep breaths, and get back to what you were needing to do.
Mm,
Think of how beneficial that is for children, right? When they're in a nervous situation or they're feeling a little, anxious about something, to be able to have that with them.
mm.
It's really a beautiful process.
Oh, fantastic. It sounds good and very accessible. You can easy to transport, easy
Yeah.
to use.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
you're not gonna feel groggy, you're not gonna have a negative side effect, you're not gonna, not doesn't say don't use with heavy machinery, right? That's on
Mhm.
every single prescription that we see. So it's another tool for your toolbox.
Mm, okay. Now, will you tell us about perhaps people you've worked with and what success stories, if you have any, about how essential oils are helping
Yeah.
in different wellness areas?
Oh my gosh, this is such a fun question. Thank you for asking this. So, okay, just recently I had a woman connect with me who has been to a slew of doctors for digestive issues specific to GERD and started
Mm,
using some of our products. And she calls them, this is her words, she calls them her miracle pills, and her miracle rollers because they're in roller form. So she uses essential oils as well as some of our other products and our supplements and our other products like that. And so her digestive issues, her GERD issues, she has gotten under control without needing heavy medication or surgery. Um, as far as anxiety and overwhelm, I'm seeing a lot of people who are going to doctors, and doctors are, suggesting prescriptions. That's what they do. That's what they know. That's what they learn in school, right? And there was a mom of an 11-year-old daughter, and she said to me, I'm really nervous about starting her on prescriptions. I just don't, I just feel like maybe there's a better way and maybe something
mm,
that we can try first. And so she reached out to me, and we went over a variety of options, and her daughter is excited to try essential oils as tool for her toolbox. Another customer, this is another young child who is dealing with eczema, and essential oils are helping with that as well in a very positive way. Um, Immunity, just boosting immunity. Essential oils can do that. Essential oils can help decrease the inflammatory response in the body, which is really, really critical. Help with gut health. Um, Restless leg syndrome is something that another customer reached out to me about and is using a couple of our essential oils for that and doing much better. So, yes, I mean, I could talk an entire podcast about success
mm.
stories. So, sleep, this is another one I'll end on. I had a woman who reached out to me. She has not had a good night's sleep in over 7 years. I mean, I think she was getting like 2 to 4 hours of sleep a night. Then she would wake up and she couldn't fall back asleep. Um,
Mm,
Vetiver and Roman chamomile and lavender have become some of her all-time favorites. She diffuses. If she does wake up in the middle of the night, she puts on a little roller ball of that and
mm.
is able to sleep for several more hours. So she's another really, really good success story. Um, that probably gives you enough, right? Enough of nothing? I could keep
Oh.
going. I could keep going, but that's enough. That's enough of a. Oh, let me share one more. Let me share one more. So there's a lot of research on frankincense. If you Google, there's a lot of research on frankincense and cancer, and frankincense and dementia, Alzheimer's, and cognition. And I have
Mm,
a friend whose mom is suffering from some dementia, and he is using a combination of frankincense and copaiba. That is an oil. Copaiba is
okay.
an oil, and they're noticing some positive changes in her. So that's
Oh.
really really exciting. Yeah, uh, doTERRA is used in top research universities, and that
Mm,
was something again that really spoke to me. So um, it has to be high quality in order to be used in research, and I think that over the next coming years, you're going to see even more and more really positive research with essential oils. So it's exciting. It's exciting. So yeah, I'll stop there and let you ask the next question because I feel like I could absolutely take over on that front.
Oh, that's fantastic that how it has helped so many people. And of course, it's not a substitute for medical advice or anything like that. Do people often work with their doctors or other medical professions as they're trying to um, overcome their different ailments when
Yeah,
they're using essential
I
oils?
always recommend that you consult your trusted practitioner. Absolutely, you need to let them know what you're doing, let them know what you're trying. Never ever keep quiet about the products that you're using because the doctor needs to see the big picture. So
Mm.
absolutely loop them in um, for sure.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Now, what are there some considerations? Are there some situations where essential oils may not be helpful or may be harmful, depending on the ailment or the situation?
Yeah, so I always recommend that you do your research or you work with somebody who knows about essential oils or who's a wellness advocate like I am. I have several resource books on the shelf behind me, and I always recommend too that people get a good resource book. In
Mm,
those books, they talk about dilution ratios, using oils with children or using oils with people who have sensitive skin. I'll talk about dilution in a second. There are some oils like citrus oils that are photosensitive, so you want to make sure that you don't put a whole bunch of oils on and then go bake in the sun. I really don't know anybody who does that anymore, but don't do it. You're not going to put oils in your eyes, up your nose, or in your ears. Okay, that's like some basic safety things. Um, in terms of contraindications, it depends on what somebody is doing. That's why I think it is important to loop your doctor in for sure, um, and be knowledgeable about what you're trying to do. So I think a resource guide, a resource book is really important to determine if there are contraindications. So, for example, a nursing mom shouldn't use peppermint essential oils because that has been shown to decrease milk supply. Okay,
okay.
so that's one that comes to mind. Um, I mean, specifically, this is why I work, one on one with my clients because we get into that, and then we have practitioners on our team who can help answer questions too. But absolutely, always consult with your own doctor. Let me just talk about dilution really quick. I mentioned dilution. So that dilution is when you add a carrier oil, like a fractionated coconut oil, which is coconut oil that never hardens,
Mm,
with your oil. And what that does is it dilutes it, and it also helps drive the oil into the skin and eliminates the amount that it evaporates. So it's actually a good practice for everybody. Um, some people are just a little bit more sensitive to certain oils. So, for example, I can put the peppermint on what they call neat right on my forehead. My youngest son, if he gets a headache, he'll want some fractionated coconut with it, coconut oil with it, because he'll say that it's just a little bit too strong of a feeling directly on his forehead. So it's always a good
okay.
idea to dilute, though.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Now, with when you work with so many different people on this, if there are people who are thinking about it or aren't quite sure, what is the first step in the process of exploring essential oils as a help and a wellness tool in your toolbox?
So I recommend that you talk to somebody like me who is a wellness advocate and a wellness educator. I teach lots of classes on Zoom, and I also schedule a lot of one-on-ones where we talk about your specific health and wellness goals. I answer your questions. What do you want to know about essential oils? Remember where I came from 6 years ago? I didn't know that they even existed, and here I am. They've completely made over our medicine cabinet, and we use them preventively and proactively as well. So having a conversation with somebody who's educated about them, I think, is your first step, and obviously that's something I'm excited to offer to your listeners.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. Now, is there, I would imagine, Google and other places, there's a lot of areas where people can research if they want more information. You mentioned resource books as well.
Yeah, I mean, with Googling, I think you always have to be careful because there's a lot of misinformation out there too. I'm happy to share the book titles if you want. I don't. They're you can get them anywhere. I didn't write them, and I don't make anything off of them. I just think there's 3 titles I'd be happy to share.
Oh, sure, if you could. And then we
Yeah.
can include those in the show notes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one is called Modern Essentials. The second one is called Essential Life. And then the other one is called Advanced Oil Magic, which is kind of a silly name, but it is a really good book. You don't need all 3, look and see which one you can find. Try and get the most recent edition. And I think that's a really, really wonderful way to start too.
Mm, okay, fantastic. Now, you mentioned, you were introduced to essential oils about 6 years ago. What inspired you to become a wellness advocate in addition to your own personal use of the essential oils?
Well, I can tell you that it came as quite a surprise. I was not looking for a job opportunity at all. I was somebody who, when I find something new and exciting or have a wonderful experience, I like to share it with the people I know and love. And so I just started talking about it because I was excited about how much it was helping us. And a good friend of mine said, "Well, I'd like to buy some from you." And I flat out said, "I don't sell them, Sharon." And she turned around and she said, "Cindy, why not?" And that's my story. It's not very exciting.
Mm.
That's my story. And I said, "You know what? Why not?" And
Mm.
that and here I am. I now have an international team of wellness advocates. I love educating people about the benefits. I love educating people about natural health care and finding solutions. Again, I keep saying this, adding more tools to our toolbox because I think that empowers us. And when we are empowered, we have more knowledge and more information to make the most informed decisions for ourselves and our families. So that's all good. That's all good. Essential oils for self-care, essential oils for stress, essential oils for specific ailments. They're amazing. They're amazing. I mean, I get excited about it for sure, and I love to help other people learn more about them.
Mm, okay. Now, you can use essential oils for so many different things. Are there, I guess, instructions or guidance about trying to use too many different oils for too many different things?
It depends on what you're trying to focus on. It's always a good idea to take a scientific approach so that you know what works. So I wouldn't necessarily give somebody 5 oils for sleep and say, try them all, and then we won't really know what's going to work. So
Mm,
I usually start with the basic oils. I usually start, and then we go from there. When your doctor sends you home with a prescription, they usually say, do a follow-up appointment in 3 months. We're going to see
mm,
how you did and make an assessment from there. So it's very much the same thing. Try and see how you feel. Did it give you the desired outcome that you wanted? And if not, let's try something else.
fantastic. Yes, that's good to just, explore and, perhaps over time, ideally you wouldn't necessarily have all the different ailments. Your ailments come and go, so to speak, perhaps.
Yeah, well, I help people, target and zero in on. We usually focus on their top 3 health and wellness goals. Okay,
Mm,
let's
okay.
focus, and typically they fall into the category of sleep, of mind and mood, like stress or digestive issues or respiratory issues, or immunity. Those are
Okay.
basically the 5 categories. Yeah, that we're targeting most, especially nowadays.
Okay. And there are different oils that perhaps some oils address more than one type of ailment, or is it just I guess, one oil per ailment?
No, there's a variety. There's a variety.
Mhm.
Oh, and then I forgot pain relief too. So
Mm, okay.
so pain relief is another big one too. So no, there's a variety, and that's really what I consider my job, is to help introduce somebody to the oils and products that are going to make the most sense for them to start with.
Okay, fantastic. I love how you just have those conversations about what their priorities are, what are some things that will really help and to address those priorities.
Yeah, it's not a one size fits all. And the last thing that anybody needs is to purchase products and then just have them collect dust, right?
Mm, Yeah.
not use them because either you don't know how or they weren't the right thing. So it's really important to me to make sure that they get what they're going to use.
Fantastic. I love that. I just love that exploration and that how enthusiastic and passionate you are about wellness and about finding those natural sources and natural ways of healing.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Well, as we wrap up here, how can people get in contact with you if they want more information?
Yeah, thank you. So I try to keep it really simple. My website is just my name. It's cindyvallone.com.
Okay.
There is a tab where you can schedule a complimentary 30-minute Zoom wellness consult. And frankly, these days, if you're tired of Zoom, we can just do an old fashioned phone call. There are some people who just don't want to get on another camera call, and I get it. So I'm happy to work with you in whatever way makes sense. It's about 30 minutes. I answer your questions, I make suggestions and recommendations. That's pretty much how it goes. And then I also like to send people to custom samples for them to try as well. So it's CINDY, V as in Victor, ALLONE.com. I'm on Facebook too. I have an oil education group in Facebook called Oil Essentials with Cindy Vallone. And then on Instagram at Cindy Vallone 123. So I try to keep it all simple. Basically, you'll find me if you know my name.
Oh, fantastic. We will include all of those in the show notes.
Thank you.
Cindy, it's been fantastic and eye-opening to learn so many different benefits of essential oils and just having that as a tool in your toolbox. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me.